I'm Ron Betson.
I'm John Bowden.
We are the Pop Culturists, and we just went and saw Alien Covenant. As always, Dylan, what's it about?
Okay, so Alien Covenant is directed by Ridley Scott.
Hey!
It is the 6th in the Alien series. If you don't include the Alien vs. Predators movies, then it'll be the 8th. And it stars Catherine Waterston. It stars Danny McBride. It stars Billy Crudup. It stars
The Bass.
Michael Fassbender. And essentially it's about the Covenant, which is a colony ship carrying 2,000 colonists frozen in hypersleep and embryos.
Yeah, fuck ton embryos.
For this crew of about 8 to 9 to 10
15 people.
15 people.
From the opening, it said 15 people. I don't think we ever saw 15 people.
No. Traveling from Earth to a planet that they found that is well enough to support human life, and they're going to set up a settlement there. On the way, they pick up a distress call or a message from an unknown planet that seems to have the same kind of inhabitant possibilities.
Seem better inhabitant possibilities.
So rather than traveling 7.5 years to get to this other place, they're like, we're going to take a shortcut and get to this planet, which is like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
But on the planet, shit goes down.
Yeah. What's the usual thing that gives Josh the giggles? And chaos ensues?
Chaos ensues.
So this is going to be an interesting discussion. You, long-time Alien fan. Me, not so much. I just didn't grow up with them. I've seen the first Alien a couple times maybe, and I've seen the other ones. I think I've seen two.
You'd know if you'd seen 2. That's all I'm saying.
Which one's 2?
Aliens. James Cameron.
Get that. What happened in Aliens?
Alien. Well, Alien. I don't know.
And the Alien is rad. I remember Alien.
Alien is Ridley Scott, where they find the alien ship on a desolate planet.
Correct.
LV-426. And then they find eggs. Somebody gets infected. They go back to the ship. Alien breaks loose. Ripley's the only survivor. Kicks its ass.
Yeah.
Aliens involves Ripley waking up. They go back to that planet, which has now been colonized by families. Shake and bake colonization. And there she takes the military with her this time. Yeah. And they get fucked up by aliens. And then Ripley saves the day again. Alien 3, Ripley wakes up on some prison planet, and everybody else has died in the ship on the way there. And she shaves her head and is infected with an alien queen, kills herself in the fire. Spoilers. And that's where her story ended. Until she was resurrected in Alien Resurrection, funnily enough, as a clone hybrid of the alien.
Yeah, I've only seen number 1.
Okay.
None of that rang a bell.
That's all those things. So what did you think of the movie overall? Coming into it from just watching a science fiction movie perspective.
I did certainly feel that I would have benefited by watching the other films.
Definitely
it had
Prometheus.
it had this big sense of lore around it. And I guess a lot of that, I remember a lot of the marketing for Prometheus, and they had the white guys with fucked up noses.
Yes, the engineers.
The engineers. So there was a sort of them, and they're sort of involved in this story as well. And I was like, that makes more sense. I don't know whether it's spoilers or not, but Fass is in this twice as a synth. Because you're understanding that he's a synth, right? And he's the design of what the synth should be. So you find another synth. It's pretty much how to explain it, right?
Okay.
So that's how I say it. Like, there's two Fasses, and I feel if I understood that he was the synth and they were all made after him, I think that I felt that may have been something touched in Prometheus.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm like, why is there too fast? Okay, don't get me wrong.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, Yes. Look, it was slow in parts, but I like that because that slow made the action moments a bit punchier, but at the same time, the amount of time that was slow when it did get fast paced, it felt like really compressed and a little too much in one big burst at the end.
Okay.
But I like the sort of the building of the crew and sort of understanding the relationships of each other, and then when they drop on the planet, I thought there'd be a bit more expositioning, but not exposition as in the dialogue, as in like
exploring.
But that, and then within 5-10 minutes, someone was infected, and then shit went down.
Yeah.
Performances were pretty great, but we'll get to that's thoughts overall. We'll find your thoughts overall, and we'll break down the characters.
Okay. So it does feel all right. So
it's tough.
Ridley Scott fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So Prometheus was the return of Ridley Scott to the franchise that he created.
Yeah.
So 1979 he directed Alien, 2012 he directed Prometheus. And he was always kind of like, they kind of effed it up at Alien 3, effed it up ever since then. Alien vs. Predator reduced it to like
Then rumor
Freddy
has
vs.
that he
Jason.
effed it worse. So.
Well, yeah, so he came back and like, this is how I do it, you know? Sit down, kids, watch how the master does it. And Damon Lindelof, who wrote Lost.
Ooh, I like
there was an
Lindelof.
original
He's
script
good.
that had more alien crap in it. Face huggers and alien warriors or alien drones, the kind of traditional alien you know. And Lindelof came in, he's like, you know what, I'm going to just take those things out. Ridley Scott didn't want to do an alien movie, so he said, no, this is an alien, it's set in a universe, but it's not alien. But then everything happens and it's alien. And they changed it up in Prometheus. Like, it's hard to get without going to spoilers, but
Well,
essentially,
Prometheus spoilers you can.
Prometheus had like these grand ideas in the trailers, like the idea of they were going to this planet to find the engineers who created the human race. They assumed, which are those tall Elvis Presley looking David statue guys.
The really buff, big weird nose guys.
That's right. That's right. And so this group of scientists went to this planet to find where they came from. They found all these star signs on Earth that led to the same place in different cultures over the centuries.
Cool. That's a cool concept.
And Charles Wayland, who is from the Wayland-Yutani Corporation through all the movies, they're the ones that are trying to get these aliens.
For those that are listening on the podcast, I caressed the logo that is on Dylan's shirt.
So essentially, the big idea they had for the movie is that Charles Wayland is elderly. He's like in his 90s and he's about to die, but he wants to go to the creators to ask, why did you make us? What is our purpose in life? And he's also created synthetic life. He's created David.
The FAS.
Yeah, so the original FAS. This is the first synthetic
OG
one. So then they get there, spoilers, and the engineers just get angry and kill Wayland and rip David's head off. He says something to them in alien speak. David seems to know what's going on, rips his head off, movie ends. And you're like, what? And it follows
Is that
the
literally
same
what
beats.
happens? Is that how it ends?
That's what happens. And then it follows the beats of alien movies. So there's a ship, they find an alien, or whatever circumstances lead it to that. There's a female there, happens to look a lot like Sigourney Weaver and dress like her randomly. In Alien Prometheus, there was Elizabeth Shaw, who had short brown hair. She's a white female. Then in this one, there's the white female, Daniels, with short hair.
The horrible, 90s...
Wears the singlet.
Cut.
Yeah,
hair.
the most horrible...
That was a horrible haircut.
Ball cut in the future. So this treads... I was worried that it treads the same things.
I meant the 2090s, like 2090, not like the 1990s.
Oh, really?
When I said the 90s hair, I meant 2099.
Yeah, of course.
Not
yeah, because it was 2000.
Because that's how fashion works.
2104, I think it was
set.
set.
2104.
Anyway, so I was worried it would follow the tropes, and it did. It was like hit the beats of an alien movie. Then we did crew, set them up. They're cannon fodder, except for the main one girl. Then we get to a planet. Then they get infected.
People poke shit they shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. They do things they shouldn't touch, clearly. And then the aliens turn up in one form or another, F stuff up. There were a lot of beats that were very similar to Aliens with like the climax of the movie. It kind of had to like fit a little bit like the jigsaw pieces of what people love about Alien and put it all together and make a new movie.
They're like, okay, we understand that these... we believe these are the things you want in an Alien movie.
But overall, the biggest issue I feel about the movie is it feels like one of those TV episodes that's filler and nothing progresses in the arc of the story in a season.
Yeah, it's true. I really don't feel anything sort of happened in this film.
Just like, okay, we need to get an extra episode out of this 20-episode season. Let's just have similar things happen and nothing really progresses. So it didn't move the mythology, which seems like a waste when you bring the Master back.
Yeah.
And it's his chance to redeem himself because Prometheus wasn't very well received. Overall.
All right, let's start talking about the actors.
Yes.
Actors.
Yes.
How do you think the acting was?
Fassbender... He was good. He was good as David.
Bass was great.
Well, and as well, David was in the original one. That David.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Cool.
When he mentioned, because he mentioned at some point Prometheus, and I was like,
yeah, you get.
Actually, no, there was an exact moment where. Okay. Side note: before we get into the characters, there were two moments in this film where it's almost like the film knew what I was thinking.
You're like, what is that? And then the movie's like, it's this. And you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was pretty much. The first one was the big giant ship, right? And it was like, it's going to take 7 years. I'm like, how the fuck do they power this thing? And there's like, turn on the solar
panels?
chargers. I'm like, oh. Within like 30 seconds. And then later on, when they find this weird ship, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And one of the characters is like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, hey, this guy.
He's on it.
Yeah, I'm like, credit to the movie for like, it knows that what it's about to do is weird. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And then,
But yeah,
of
the
course,
Fast-
David as well was like, who are you? I was on the Prometheus. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and he's like, oh, yeah, I was
He's like,
part of-
I was in Prometheus, the movie. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you're the synth in that one, I guess. It's sort of spoilers.
Cool.
Yes, I thought Fast was interesting. I thought it was great. Danny McBride. Jesus Christ! Like for me, he's Eastbound and Down. He is like that.
Pineapple Express.
Yeah, Pineapple Express. This is the end. Like he's that dick hole of a character. And in this, like, they didn't give it like. He was there long enough to get, and I think it's because I like him as an actor, though. So it's like when they started dealing with him and his relationship with his wife, who, for life. Okay, side note, I don't remember any of the fucking names of the people in this movie. At no point.
Tennessee, because it was
He was
Danny
Tennessee
McBride,
because
and they said it 100 times,
had
and he
a
has
cool
a hat.
accent. Yeah, and they called him T. Like I remember his character is Tennessee. Everyone else, don't know. I know he had a wife because he liked to tell me how often he had a wife.
He likes to say his wife. I don't even think he said her name. He's like, "It's my wife, okay? It's my wife. She's my wife. Nameless."
I'm proud of my wife.
Yeah.
Who is she? Wife.
That one.
Yeah, he was. I thought he was great because there was a nice big emotional punch there.
He was good. Yeah.
I think he did really good for what I expect of Danny McBride, which could just mean bad. Like he was average.
Didn't have high.
Yeah, he was
drama
average. Like he was here, and I was like, oh fuck. Yeah. The main chick, she was a chick. Franco was there for about a minute and a half.
I'll get to that in the spoilers section. But
Because was he in Prometheus?
no. Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it. Yeah, Fast was great. Everyone else was pretty forgetful.
Forgettable. Yeah.
Oh no, I was forgetful because
Fassbender was good because Fassbender plays David, who's British.
Yeah.
And
What's Fass's actual accent?
I think he's like Irish.
Okay, so he just busted his regular accent and then he's American.
Well, yeah, and then he does his American when he's Walter, who's the Covenant synthetic.
You know what took me about 80% of the movie to realize that was his name was Walter.
Really?
I
They said
assumed
Walter
that
like 700 times.
Yeah, in the end they did. I assumed that they were all called David.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought, but no, that would get confusing.
Yeah.
David, get my shoes. No, not you, David. You get my.
Yeah, but I assumed
tea.
every ship had their own David.
Yeah, they usually they'd have a synthetic on board.
Yeah, but like they were all referred to as David.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. What else? So the characters, yeah, you pretty much summed it up. The main Daniels was like, yeah, you're a girl and you're doing things. Yeah. It didn't really flesh out the characters enough to be like, I got the gist of who people were just because it was moving, but they spent a lot of slow build up with the characters.
Like, yeah,
you know, it's a good 50% of the movie is build up, getting to know them, following them around, watching them do things.
Exactly. Like there was clear effort and intention to try to make you care for these characters. But I don't feel it got like when the time came for shit to go down, I was like, all right. As in, like, I didn't feel there was enough. Because you know how I mentioned it was slow, right? But it was slow enough to drop your attention and probably miss key beats. And as a result, like,
they tried. Well, like Billy Crudup they said that he has faith. He was
the captain,
replacement captain.
Yeah.
And he was a bit unsure of himself.
I thought that would have been like, I kind of wish they touched on that a little bit more, actually, because like he's a man of faith, and by
not scientists, but
this clear future is like science is fucking boss, right? So it's like, how would you still have science when you can space travel and when you can do all this cool shit? Like, why would you still have faith?
Which kind of plays into the idea of the creators, them meeting their creators.
That's why
this whole creation
when I talked about creation thing, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's where it comes through. But I kind of wish they jumped into that a little bit more. But I feel that Prometheus probably should have had more of that.
It tries for it. The same one as this one does. There's things there, thinly veiled though, and you can kind of like, yeah, they could have explored it deeper. Like, if they're on this planet with other creatures and things like that, like, who's the god that created them? Is it the same god that created Earth and heaven and humans, or is it different? Like, there's a conflict of there. It'd be an interesting dynamic to follow, but he didn't really, get to explore that.
So is that something that Ridley Scott, is that something that's, not Ridley Scott, but even the Alien franchise, is that something that they try to talk through a lot, or is that just Ridley Scott's version of Alien?
That's Prometheus. Like, Damon Lindelof came in and put all these religious undertones. Prometheus is the god that stole fire. I think he was a god. Let's say he's a god that stole fire from the gods, or a person who stole fire from the gods. And then he was shunned by the gods and tortured for the rest of his life. So they had this crow that just continually ate his guts out in some kind of mythology. I don't know if it's Greek or Roman.
Yeah,
or
it rings a bell, yeah.
So the idea is that they stole the fire from the gods, which is this stuff, this ooze or
glowy
dust
shit,
or whatever that turns into the form on this one.
Convenient glowy shit.
Yeah, and then they're punished for that. So that's the kind of idea. In Covenant, it's the idea that God did a flooding of the earth and killed all the humans, only to bring them back again. And I think it's like a kind of a unspoken thing between God and humanity that he wouldn't do that again. And that kind of represents the way that David flooded the people there and starting a new...
And we flooded them with spoilers, yeah.
Flooded with spoilers. So you don't know what that means. It's water. Let's say there's water.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. So those ideas are presented in Prometheus, and that's what these movies are trying to do differently, but it doesn't really touch on them. Let's talk about special effects.
It was the movie. Look, I don't think nothing about it amazed me in terms of its special effects. But I guess I didn't really have to.
The ships kind of look at sometimes like models, which was cool.
Yeah. So the ships were cool. The ships were great. I had no complaints with the ships. They weren't
road train.
They weren't stunning, but they were good,
functional.
As in, I'm not like that's a good looking ship. There's like that never happened. But even in the same vein of watching Rogue One, right? When the shadow pulls back over the Star Destroyer, you're like, looks like a fucking model. That's awesome. Well, I never had that. Special effects were all right. Now the one thing that I have an issue with,
yes,
is because my understanding and my recollection of Alien,
yes,
was that it was a lot more suspenseful, a lot more. You don't see the xenomorph Pardon me. So just as I start getting my cough under control, I get fucking sick again. It's the worst. So mine, I guess that could have come down to the constraints at the time of not having the money to do the special effects of the xenomorph. But I love the idea of not entirely knowing where it is, and it's kind of always hidden, and you sort of see it only a little bit. Where in this, it's like, there it is. And then it walks out and it's like, stop.
Oh, there's that.
And I will talk about that, but that's more spoilers about the other thing. But seeing it, I'm going, well, it looks pretty fucking cool, but it took me out of it. Because my understanding of it is it's that real suspense. Yeah. Even in the game, that Alien game... Isolation. The whole benefit of that game is you don't know where that is. You can see it on your scanner or whatever, and the whole it's fucking tense, right? Obviously, when it comes out, it beats the shit out of you. But it's that's where it's the fun.
Well, that's what the first one by Ridley Scott, Alien, was kind of like a haunted house movie in space.
Exactly, and that's what but I guess Prometheus, judging by what you're saying, Prometheus and this different arc of the Alien universe goes in a different route. It's not trying to be that sort of thrillery sort of thing.
Well, I think it's trying to be more philosophical. Aliens by James Cameron started as an imitation of what Ridley Scott had set up, which is a very slow burn, artistic. He's a very visual director, takes his time, meticulous setup shots, and then James Cameron's balls to the walls, Terminator 2 action. So it hits halfway, and then it's just and that's what people loved about it, the action, the gunfights, the characters, the soldiers, the banter between everybody. And so this one seems to try to amp up the action by having guns and explosions and crap in that, but I don't think that's Ridley Scott's specialty. And so it just feels a bit out of place. But the alien itself is, in many forms throughout the movie, CG.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever practical.
I wouldn't think so. Except
for
maybe the tail under the shell.
Yeah, maybe that. And it moves around it was a good point. It doesn't hide. In the originals, it hid in the chains, or it kind of blended into the walls, and you didn't know where it was. Here, he does walk around like a Bigfoot in a home movie. He's just casually strolling along.
It's not really spoilers. It gets on the ship. When it's on the ship, it's walking down the horror corridor.
Yeah,
So-
like it opens the door and it's like, oh, there you are, and he like jumps after you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It doesn't like slink away like a snake, and you're like, fuck, where is it going? Like
for me, like the intensity of having it hidden is like,
even in like one of the finale kind of scenes, if it lurked around and drew it out more than just like, oh, run over here, it's chasing me. You know, like
yeah.
yeah, it could have done it a lot more.
Do they credit when they're on another thing, when they're on the planet?
Yes.
They acted like velociraptors a little bit, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, there was a brief moment of that
Yeah, I
happening.
was like, oh, that's cool. That's over.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
do you think of all the special effects?
Yeah, I just like the shit. Like you come to expect a certain degree of special effects. Like they played the King Arthur trailer before,
Looks
by
like
Guy
trash.
Ritchie, and it's like it's so much effort they put the effort in. It looks incredible, but that's not enough these days.
Yeah,
Like,
I know,
spectacle doesn't do it for me.
Because see, like my problem, and because they also showed the Mummy trailer as well, which is all special effects.
Yeah.
See, the Mummy trailer made me so mad. I'm like, it's another thing fucking ending the world. I'm sick of this shit. So to their credit, this didn't do that. This wasn't this big fuck off end of the world thing.
No.
And I appreciate that. I like the little villain. The little villain's pretty cool.
Yeah, the little guy.
Little guy, give him some fucking shit. Okay. But then it's like, fuck Mummy. That made me look so bad.
Anyway, so let's do like an overall
quick final thoughts.
Let's do some final thoughts before we jump into our spoilers.
For me, not being a fan of the Alien franchise, I had limited to no expectations of this film, and it's interesting that the movie still didn't meet my expectations because I just didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
And I came out going, I don't know what to think of that movie. Like there were moments that were pretty fucking cool, but there were also moments I'm like, ugh. Like I understand it's trying to be philosophical and punchy, and I kind of think, and I think that's really cool because I love smart movies that way. In the era of Transformers and Marvel and like all these big fuck off movies, right?
Yeah.
This huge bombastic special effect messes. It's nice to have a film that even tries to be a little bit deeper, but in the end, it does exactly that. It just goes big and bombastic.
Yeah, it does.
It was fun. Yeah, it's fine. I'd give it like a 2.5.
Whoa.
Out of 5. It was fun.
Again, it comes to expectations. I think in Prometheus they led to something at the end that was going to happen, and then it didn't pay off here. Like it's like you're going this way, and then you're like, "Fuck off, we're going backwards," and it's like, why promise that? There were the clever things I liked. I liked David's arc and what he was doing, and like his thought process in what he was doing and what he couldn't do in life because he's a synthetic person. So what would give him desire and ambition and fulfillment? I like that idea. That was interestingly explored. But everything else was just like same shit, different day. It wasn't particularly visually impressive. There was nothing that stood out where you were kind of like, didn't gasp at the beauty of it. But I think it was good that they had like more characters that were likable. At least.
Sorry to jump in on your final thoughts, but like I think the tone of the film can be pretty much understood at the opening. It has the 20th Century Fox logo and it's this fucking dull green. Like they put this weird filter over the 20th Century Fox logo. I'm like, all right, we're expecting dull green, and you get pretty much dull green visually for the rest of the film.
Yeah. I like that the people were a lot smarter as well. They weren't scientists; they were just kind of like colonists. So they had a doctor. I think
their entire job was to move these people over here to start a new building.
So I like that they were a little smarter than the Prometheus crew, who were scientists and dumbasses. They took that on board. Danny Bride was good. Michael Fassbender was good. Everything else felt kind of like,
yeah.
So yeah, I'd give it. It's tough.
They know my pain. My game pain.
2.5 out of 5.
Hey, same as me. Let's go, friends.
But yeah, that's Alien Covenant.
Now that's our non-spoiler section of the Alien Covenant review. Be sure to tune in onto the next video or the next podcast. We have choices now. So you have been warned. This is where it ends.